seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hi, it's Candace Patton, and you're listening to the Flash Podcast.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Flash Podcast, your part for all things to the Flash TV show on the shittiest cat channel on the whole broadcasting network, starring Grant Gustin as Baron, a.k.a. The Flash. I'm your host, Andy B, who doesn't give a fuck anymore, and I'm joined by, first of all, my entire crew. Toddy and Lacy are both here in their separate bodies. Girl, how you not doing tonight?
And Breeze does not get a shout out.
Well, because
Breeze
Breeze...
is back from vacay.
Exactly, from Greece.
I'm just
Greece
boycotted.
Visited. Yeah, she learned from zero to hero. You know, Hercules in no time flat.
She got some of those cute overalls like Meryl Streep wears in Mamma Mia. She's just keeping it real.
I wish. I did see people in overalls like that, though, and I'm like, oh, I wish I did wear a lot of linen, though, a lot of white linen, so...
Is that, like, required? Do they, like, check your luggage when you get to Greece to make sure you look, like, coastal enough?
I assume so, yeah. I came prepared.
Well, also we're joined by a very special guest because, listen, when it comes to Miss JPK, there's no one on this entire podcasting network that loves Jessica Parker Kennedy as much as this man does. He is one of the hosts of The Literation Room and Green Lantern Podcast as part of the Studios podcast, and he's Brother Nate. Brother Nate, welcome back. How you doing tonight?
Oh, so good to be back, Andy. Even though I feel a little tension in the air, hopefully we can help you dissipate some of that tension here tonight, Andy B. Good to be back with the ladies, Lacy and Breeze. It feels like we just talked a couple weeks ago, and Toddy. It's been so long since I've talked on air with Tatiana Hollander, so that's great.
Exactly, we've only spoken in my dreams.
Just yes. I there's a blue crystal, and it just kept saying Toddy, and I didn't know what was going on, but now everything is come full circle. But you know what, Andy? I know, I understand. Like, everybody doesn't like everything, so maybe there's somebody watching or listening in the future that's like, oh, this guy Nate, he's back again. I can't stand when this Brother Nate character comes on the Flash podcast. And I hear you, disgruntled listener out there, but we don't always get what we want in life. Sometimes things don't go our way.
Sometimes we get what we need.
Yeah, sometimes we get what we need, and you know,
and that is Brother Nate on the podcast.
Toddy, I guess that's why they call it the blues.
Wow,
that was a long way to go for that reference
that
25% of the audience is going to get, but I stand by it.
How hard do you think Eric fought for that song? He's just like, we have to have this song
all season.
This random cover version of the blues by
Well, yeah, they could only afford the cover version.
Yes,
that's like the AI Grimes version.
Okay, so that was.
You know what? Somebody does have a great. Matt has a great question in the chat. Does anyone know WTF is up with the blue roses? Because it is driving me insane. I feel like I missed something or was on drugs.
Is it a
They're just pretty.
Maybe don't smoke. Maybe don't smoke blue roses. I guess.
I guess. So weird.
But ladies and gentlemen,
I don't really think blue roses occur in nature, so somebody like had to crossbreed that.
I mean, it's happening in a fictional universe about a man who can run really fast. So if we can buy that, I'm sure we can buy the fact of blue roses.
I think I did actually Google this the other week because I was also confused about it, and I think it's like
the only thing they would tell us, and they don't appear to be telling us.
Well, apparently there's something in Twin Peaks that's like blue rose, and I know Eric's a nerd, so I don't know if it's Twin Peaks reference.
Wow.
Right.
So
well, we're we're here tonight to talk about the penultimate. I guess super great. This is fun because they always every season when they got to the penultimate episode of every season, it became like, how many times can we say penultimate? Penultimate is a great name. It's a great word. We talk
It's
about
one of my husband's favorite words. He loves to say that.
He should come on the podcast.
Just to say it.
He should come on the podcast. But we're talking about the penultimate episode. But before we do that, let's talk about the death of the CW. Because what the fuck was this? What the fuck was his schedule that was revealed today? At the time of recording, Supernova's Gotham Knights and All American Homecoming have not been renewed yet. They have not made decisions yet on that. But the new president of entertainment, who clearly needs media training, said all the wrong things that pretty much has everyone now even more worried that Supernova's is pretty much screwed because, it's great. It is great for its linear, but it's really expensive. And we don't have the whole catalog for the whole show. That's on HBO Max. So
I hate to break it to him, but the CW app is hot garbage. I had to watch this week's Flash on the CW app, and it had roughly 87 commercials.
I literally didn't watch
impossible.
Yeah, I didn't watch the episode live. So guess what? I did not watch it on the app. I watched it via other means because that's how bad the app is.
So bad. I did like the constant promos it gave me for Rain. I loved Rain. We love a headband.
Because Brother, how do you feel about the end of the CW? Like, was it weird just seeing like All American, but then what the fuck are all these other shows?
Yeah. First of all, to Lacy's point, like, I don't like half of the commercials on the CW app. I don't know if these shows are happening presently, if they happened 10 years ago, or if they're happening 2 years in the future. Like, it's just a random Beauty and the Beast promo, and I'm like, is this a show that's happening now?
Rain forever.
Is Beauty and the Beast on now? Am I missing it?
And it's also like random shows that were not CW shows. They were other like at least Rain and Beauty and the Beast were like actually on the CW. I kept getting promos for a show that is amazing, but not a CW property called The Lying Game, and I was like, no one knows what that is.
But here's the thing. Oh, how the mighty have fallen, Andy. Your mileage may vary on the term mighty when talking about this network that has never made a profit in its entire history. But
told the entire truth to save their own lives.
You know what?
It made a profit in my heart. Okay.
Yes.
Twitter has not made money ever, and we're still forced to use that every day.
Well, that's the thing, though. To Breeze's point, like, there was a time, even though this company wasn't making money, there was a buzz. There was a vibe.
There was a cultural cachet.
Yes, with the CW. And that cachet is bankrupt now. Like, ain't nobody watching the CW no more. I mean, there are obviously people watching the CW, but it's
yes,
never
and all
going
five
to be
of them
what
are
it was.
on this podcast.
Yes, it's the five of us plus like some 75-year-old dude that likes to watch golf on the CW for some reason.
And whatever lonely teenagers like watching the hell out of Riverdale.
I think there's plenty of 30-something ladies watching Riverdale. I think that's actually their target demo, but the CW doesn't understand that.
It's accurate.
I mean, it's the lowest rated show on the CW, and that's the one that gets fucking 20 episodes. But we're just the podcasters, we're just the reporters. We don't make the decision of these this stupid network. I had to Google every show that was on that schedule. I'm like,
I just can't believe that it's the CW that swoops in to save F-Boy Island and give it a spinoff.
And also, but like none of the on that show was even hot. So it's like, why is it even called F-Boy Island?
I'm not even going to pretend that I didn't watch it on HBO Max because I watch great dramas and trashy reality. So I might watch that. I don't know.
So you're like,
I feel like it's not going to be as good on the CW.
No,
I mean, if you watch it more on HBO Max, David Zaslav would have been really, really happy because he's all about them reality shows.
Is it Max yet, or is that next week?
Next week, yeah.
Right.
But I mean, is anyone actually going to call him Max? Like, I'm still going to call it HBO.
LOL,
Max.
no.
I
feel like I still call it HBO Go half the time.
Pour one out for HBO Go.
I know HBO Go was actually, it was pretty shitty. It crashed during Game of Thrones like all the time, but
I mean, good. I mean, does that show really deserve attention? But Toddy, you always have the good quips. How did you feel when you saw the announcement that is the CW schedule of all these shows?
I have already buried the CW in my heart, and I, have already spent the 49 days of Buddhist mourning and seen it gone on to its next life. So there's nothing more I can say for it, but I must defend the honor of my bestie Game of Thrones. HBO had to go because it disrespected my mother, Sansa Stark.
You know what? At least she's queen in the North in the end. She'll never
Exactly.
get there. She'll never get there in the books because GRM will never finish it.
Exactly, but because of that, I can pretend she's already there. And we thank you, George R. Martin, for not ruining it. Anyway, so that's all. I have nothing else to say. The CW was my childhood, back when it was the WB, actually. But we've already seen one Metamorphosis. Next up is going to be
Remember when Buffy was on the WB and then it went to UPN and then they merged together?
Yes.
UPN.
That's a true life story. That's the right.
I don't remember anything else that was on UPN besides
UPN
Buffy.
was
the
Veronica
Mars.
Veronica Mars was an outlier on
Wasn't
UPN.
Girlfriends on UPN?
It was so many black shows that they didn't invest in. Girlfriends, Malcolm and Eddie, Homeboys in Outer Space, which was trash.
I've not heard of that last one.
How could that, with a name like that, be trash? That feels like it would be.
And the theme song was
amazing.
like, "Here's two homeboys. They're in outer space." They're like,
I mean, that's accurate. At least they were not selling you lies.
I mean, tell me what to expect.
I have to Google this one. That's the only one I hadn't heard.
I think it lasted like 10 episodes, maybe.
Yeah, that feels like a lot.
Hey, it takes a long time to get to outer space.
Space is vast.
So yeah, basically I've seen the CW already go through a few downgrades, and this one is just the worst one of all. I guess, at least for the foreseeable, I don't even know what we have anymore, because I'm like, every streaming network or whatever is like slashing its content and like trying to cut its writers out. So eventually we're just going to have like 10 scripts written by AI performed by voice modulators. So I cannot wait for that day.
Or if we're all doomed, we will have Cecile voicing all of them. But yeah, also for anyone who, I mean, because what a great way to hype up a show that is on the bubble. The president was like, "Yeah, Super Low season 3, it ends on a great cliffhanger." I'm like, why the fuck would you say that?
Wasn't it Todd who said that? Didn't he say there was a cliffhanger?
I don't know why.
Clearly an idiot. Like, let's do a cliffhanger when we
right? Why would you do that?
Did you not watch Legends?
Patented CW move.
They think since they're not in the Arrowverse, they're too good for.
I know who said it was Brad. It was Todd. Listen, most white dudes, like they blend together to me at some point. It's a miracle I can tell Lacy and Breeze apart. So
I am a lot taller than she is.
Wow.
Also, one of us is blonde and one of us is brunette. We're very different.
Wow, Andy.
Andy is feeling the end of the Flash, guys.
I'm giving zero fucks.
Negative Speed Force Andy tonight.
Yeah, he's got the crystal.
He's the new Negative Speed Force avatar.
Cobalt
Andy. Yeah.
Yes.
And I will start with killing Cecile.
But Andy.
What?
I feel that's a bad choice.
Oh no, it's tonight, because tonight she crossed the ultimate line. So we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it. But yeah, that's kind of all we have on the CW. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Stop telling lies. Learn how to do media training. The president of the new CW sucks. Don't tell your shows on the bubble and then be like, oh, by the way, it ends on a cliffhanger.
CW had a moment though. Like they had some.
I was watching that like 4 nights a week. I'm not gonna front. Like
Charmed.
Oh, gee,
that was WB though.
Was that WB or was that CW?
We're not even 20
Charm
minutes.
was on for so long that it might have been both.
Guys, we're not even 20 minutes in, and you guys still found a way to work. Yeah, I cannot fucking believe this. Like,
our Charm podcast will be launching in 2020.
Yes.
We're just soft launching the Charm podcast leading up to the end of the Flash.
Slide in Holly Marie Combs as GM, see if she wants to come on.
Because I've already promised Holly that once we come back with the Flash podcast after this season, we're gonna start with K dramas, because she, I made Toddy wait for like 3 seasons for for me to even say something nice about K-dramas. But after that, I guess
and I appreciate.
and I appreciate your face. But we can after that we can get into Charmed, I guess. Just not the
I will
reboot.
tell you, I
But
loved Exo Kitty, which I am told has a lot of like semi K drama vibes, but for like American teens.
Right.
So I'm curious now.
But before we
Ooh.
get going, I just want to promote something because I was actually on. I was on a guest on a different podcast the other day, and some of you may have heard of it. It's called Superhero Stuff You Should Know, and they're
Ooh.
amazing. Their room band are awesome, and they kind of do a lot of this like lost media type of episode content on their show, and they will talk about other like they talk about recent movies, and they're a great duo over there. And I was actually fortunate to be invited to talk about Greg Berlanti's unmade Flash movie, and that he and Mark Guggenheim wrote before he went to the garbage hole that is the CW. And you would be surprised how many similarities there are from those scripts that carried over to the show. So the new episode will be going live, I believe. Oh, he told me what day it was, but I forgot. It's next week, definitely. But yeah, go subscribe to Superhero Stuff You Should Know on YouTube. You can also find them all over Apple Podcasts. I will put some links in the show notes after the night's live stream. And but yeah, they were also, and I'm actually going to be having them on for our Flash movie review in June, so it'll find a little crossover. They're awesome. And that's also where I use some of the information for the big episode I did with Craig Byrne about all the lost many Flash TV shows and movies that were never made. So yeah, so go check them out and catch that episode next week. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get into the penultimate episode of The Flash, Season 9, Episode 12, called A New World, Part 3. And this was written by Jonathan Butler and Sarah Tarkov, and directed by Stefan's blah blah last name. So, Breeze, kick us off.
Yeah, so we start off with not Malcolm Eddie, who's having a total mental breakdown, as would any of us if we were in his situation, and he's freaking out, and he accidentally kills the cop who's helping him, whose name I can't remember, but they really make it seem like we're supposed to know who she is.
Colbert.
I feel like
Daisy
it's like
Colbert.
Corner. It's with a K. We love names with K.
Anyway, R.I.P. her. And Eddie is like, I gotta find out what's going on, so I'm gonna go find the Flash. And cut to Chester saying, no one would ever look for us under the Flash Museum, except for Eddie does. So he goes to the Flash Museum because he's like, I'm looking for the Flash. And the security guard's like, okay, he's right over there, but it's just a costume because he probably has idiots like this coming every day. And yeah, he's wondering what's going on. He's like stressing out because the negative Speed Force is trying to like mess with him. And he runs into Nora, who I totally forgot he had met before, back when Nora and Bart were running around the past. And he's like, can you help me? And she's like, yeah. But then she gets possessed by the negative Speed Force. And it's like, wow, you were really a loser to die for no reason, because you definitely didn't stop the Reverse Flash at all. And he's like, you know what? You're right. I was kind of a loser. That sucks. And yeah, he kind of gets tempted by the negative Speed Force to turn evil. And Barry's like, no, you saved my life. Like, you shouldn't be evil. You can have a new life. Like, you won't get Iris, which kind of sucks, but you can still have a new life. And he's like, I'll think about that. And he thinks about it and he decides, you know what? No, I do want Iris because she's that fine. And he goes to find Iris and she's like, no, I'm pretty happy with Barry and the kids. And he's like, you know what? Screw this. I'm going to become evil. And yeah, that's my Eddie recap for this episode. And I'll let Nate start since he's our guest.
Well, thank you, Breeze. And I echo your sentiments. R.I.P. her.
Colbert. Daisy Colbert. It's not a hard name.
No, but they act like she's like an established character.
That's the thing. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. When she came, like, it was 2 episodes ago when we first see her, I was like, "Am I supposed to know you?"
She has been a recurring guest for several seasons.
I think that's stretching it. I think that calling her a guest is like overstating her importance. I don't feel like she was invited.
Was she like in the background of a scene at CCPD or what? I don't know. I also had the same feeling about am I supposed to know her, and then I just decided that I didn't care.
Wow. I mean, she's been in over 15 episodes, so but
And what were her iconic lines that you recall?
that time when she was like, "Oh, I used to work with him."
We stand.
Eddie really made an impression on her. Apparently,
give her her flowers.
Years ago.
I wish she would make an impression on me. So I don't blame her.
Give her her flowers. But here's the thing. Like, all jokes aside, our guy Rick is out here crushing it, man. Like, I feel like the Eddie stuff, to me, as much as I love me some JPK. Like, the sunshine in my life just grows tenfold by magnitudes whenever Jessica Parker Kennedy is on my TV screen. But
he has demanded me off screen that if we ever got to interview her, that he's like, screw you out of co-host, Andy. I need to be on that interview.
I didn't put it like that. I didn't.
That's essentially what you said. You were kind of like, listen, I love Sister Toddy and Lacy and Bree, but you listen, if you get JPK, I gotta come on for that one. I'm like, well, first let me at least try and get them to freaking answer, which it's not their strong.
Our friendship does hinge upon you securing that interview, so no pressure, Andy.
Well, you're going to be disappointed.
But I love this kind of Eddie's journey. The only thing I wish is that we would have had a longer journey, and that might be my kind of overwhelming feeling about this whole final season. Because for the most part, I've really liked it. It just felt so truncated. And I think Eddie's kind of journey from, hey, what am I doing alive? And why am I here? And, oh, no, not my partner, my captain that I've known all these years, who's been in all these episodes that y'all have watched. And then, I'm evil. And I think what Rick did a great job of what he had. And you can kind of buy it. Like, this dude is out of place. And as as Bree said, we all would feel disoriented. And so you got this voice pushing you and pushing you and pushing you. And he's got genuine feelings of loss and the ultimate FOMO, like, dog, I missed everything because I've been dead. The ultimate FOMO. And so I can understand how Eddie could ultimately make that choice. I just wish we had more time to tell this story because it is a compelling story. And I thought that, like, him and his scene with Grant, like the few times we saw him with Grant, I wanted more of that because, just again, I gave up my life for you, brother. And I wanted more of that conversation that those two could have had. But all in all, like, I think Eddie's storyline has worked so well for me in these last, 2 or 3 episodes. So I my minor nitpicks aside, guys, I enjoyed it.
How do you feel about this?
Yeah. Let me tell you, Andy. When I saw this daughter come up, I was like, "There's something not quite right about this." JPK. And I was like, it took me a second to realize, they're literally putting Eddie in Barry's story by showing him, like, I know you two have completely different genetics, but this is exactly how your daughter would have looked. And speaking of JPK, because I will gush about JPK all night long. Like, on this episode, like, her evil JPK, I dug evil JPK, like possessed by the crystal JPK. She was having fun, and I was having fun with her.
What the fuck is this wig?
I mean, would it be a classic CW show without a classic? One more time, we need one classic CW wig for the road, Andy B.
Exactly.
They literally pulled this out of a storage closet somewhere.
No, you know what
I feel
happened?
like this was used on Arrow, and they just chopped it down.
Yes.
No, I know what this is. This was they slaughtered a Karen and took her hair and put it on JPK's head for some reason.
It makes her look like a 12-year-old boy. I just like, it's not even like,
it is like a OG Justin Bieber, like when Bieber first hit.
Yeah,
it's a little Bieberish.
Did he ever hit?
Man, I'm a grown man, Andy, and you can still put "Baby" on the radio, and I might tap my toe because it's a catchy song, sir.
This looks horrible. Like, she looks like Karen. And also, Eddie is not even that blonde, so like, I don't know, like, why they went so strong for her wig. Oh well.
Yeah, no, I agree. Rick Cosnett has crushed it. I'm so glad they brought him back for this. Tatiana, do you want to go next?
Well, I do think that for the most part, Rick Cosnett did a great job, except there was like one scene where I was like, the lines were just too unbelievable. I was like, no one can sell this. This is just, I am laughing. But everything else,
what was the line?
I can't remember now. I just remember he was like yelling at. It was like he was just like yelling to the gods, right? Like it's so unfair.
I feel like I know what scene you're talking about.
At the very end, when he finally accepts.
I'm gonna be evil now. Like I was like, okay, I get it.
Here's the thing, though, Toddy. I think I could have bought that if we had like 2 or 3 more episodes. Where like this is the dude at the end of his rope.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've had enough time with him.
Exactly. So that's my biggest issue. My biggest issue is like this should have been a final season storyline. Like your big bad for the final season should have been Eddie Thawne. If you're gonna first off throw away his sacrifice, right? After all this time, you're bringing him back, and we're supposed to believe this is the real him. They brought him back, and in like one episode of him realizing who he is, he's just been like, you know what, that was actually useless and stupid, and now I'm going to be evil. But not even a like great evil. My evil will also be thrown away because he will be defeated in one episode. Like that's just not cool at all. That's not fair to the character, to the actor, to whatever. It definitely should. And also, it was teased at the end of last season. Why would you wait so long to bring it back? Like we saw that blue crystal at the very end of last season. We should have been, taking off running with that from the start so that we could get the backstory first, even if you push it back for a few episodes. Maybe he has to get to 20, from 2049 to 20, whatever the hell year this is, 2023. Like, where are we? And then see him actually set up his plan or whatever. That would have been more interesting to me. However, I will agree with you. I will try to be unbiased and say that, yes, I do think that we've had some strong scenes with him, especially the scenes with Grant were strong. And I love that we did finally get 10 years later, Iris being like, you know what? You were right. There was always 3 people in our relationship. I would always have chosen Barry. So I am so sorry to you that you came all this way to be rejected by me. But it is what it is. I support that. However, what was the best part to me was that he was so in love with his blonde daughter, Nora, that he also erased Bart in his, like, he was like, in my perfect world, Bart will not exist. He would not look blonde. I must remove him from this photograph.
She's like, I never wanted a son.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I know you can't get Jordan for this episode, but you could at least have just put some Photoshop on that picture instead of erasing him completely. Anyway.
Think about the wig he would have gotten.
Right? It brings me so much joy to think about. But sadly, it was taken from me. Anyway, yeah. So mostly, I'm like, good showcase for Rick, and I love imagining what this storyline could have been like. We've been asking for so many years. You guys already heard me complain nonstop about the absolute nothing they did to distinguish 2049 as a place and a timeline. This time, at least
like a little bit holograph.
Yeah, at least we got the Flash Museum. So like that was cool, but like, why are there only like 12 people total in the Flash Museum? Come on now, let's make him look a little bit. Let's hype him up a little bit. That was like, what is this? And
you know what? That would have been a perfect way for us on the Flash podcast to cameo, like in the
right. They should have flown us in, free food and drinks. Visit to the Flash Museum. Oh well, it was
free CW wigs for everyone.
Exactly. I will work for day rate. It's fine.
Exactly, their laws.
Right?
Their
I
laws.
just want the blue Keone clip-ins. That's all.
Lacey's like cosplaying as Keone visiting the Flash Museum.
Wow.
Can we talk about how horribly they photoshopped Bart into the West Allen family photo and just to Photoshop him right back out? See, it's just.
I literally saw a better fan edit by someone who had all 4 of them together. And I'm like, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, the thing, but the Photoshop has never been good on the CW. Like again, I can literally show you what the final season poster for Smallville season 10 looked like, where essentially it's like a body horror imagination because they taken Erica Durance's season 4 head and put it on her season 8 body, and they taken Tom Welling's season 7 head and put it on his season 6 body, and
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, I do think that it was good for what we've been working with. I just wish that we had been working with it for longer. So I'm gonna cede to Brother Nate on that.
Andy, what did you think about Eddie's return?
He's so fucking hot.
Well, aside from that.
I just wanted to be on the record that this is one gorgeous man. That if I was an avatar looking for someone to take over, I would be like, I will happily take over this man because I know this man. I will know if he walked down the street. Yes, to this man. I thought, yeah, I agree. We should have had it as a long season arc, but we're doing graphic novels. This is the way it is. I'm glad we're getting it at all. I'm glad we're getting Cobalt Blue at all, and I love that he like this. When I saw him and Grant act together, it really made me wish that they had more scenes in season one, even because even they have moments in season one, but it's like we never had something like this. I think the most violent we ever saw Eddie with Barry was he punched him once. Because he was like, "Why did you tell Iris that you love her?" And then Kayla had to come up with some sort of he has lightning psychosis from being struck by the lightning. I'm like, lightning psychosis, really? But no, I really loved everything that had to do with Eddie. It was great seeing Miss JPK back. But when that wig came up, I was like, "What the fuck am I watching?" And I'm like, I wonder if Nate want to come on the podcast tomorrow.
That was the impetus.
Yeah, well, not just because she was in the episode, but I wanted to react to what JPK would look like as a Karen. Public servant announcement from DC podcast: don't be a Karen, or you will get filmed and put on Twitter and get canceled and probably fired from your job. So I love that again. Also, JPK, she was eating it in this episode, when she was. I love Barry, but I love that she was just mocking him and dragging him and again the thing is because she's also so short, so it's funny they had to sit on the ground just so that she can believably be able to hold him in a chokehold. So it was just it was hilarious. But also I don't know if it's I don't know if it's JPK, if it's her stunt double, but I love that Nora can just flip in the air, she can what's it called, do a summer hold in the air, I don't know what gymnastics is, but she basically flips up in the air, wheels in the air. That I'm like, good lord, Nora has been training, and so that was fun. Also, I feel it's been a while since we've seen the future, but outside. They spent a lot of time outside. That staircase in the middle, by the way, is cursed forever in Central City because there's always that four-side stairwell that is. There's always some fucking speedster or villain that is just I'm come and face me, Flash. So it's cursed. But yeah, no, but I agree. I enjoyed this storyline, but I think I would have loved it more if we had it as a whole season arc with, they could have probably found a way to factor in the blue crystal with Red Death. Maybe the Red Death is maybe the blue crystal is trying to find its new avatar. There's nothing more that makes me full of glee when I please Tatiana or when I impress her with something. So first they made, but I don't know. I'm glad we got it at all. And the end when when he sees the crystal, I'm like, oh, the crystal sure loves to use archived footage. The crystal is actually a secret YouTube editor that is just I've been downloading all these clips.
Crystal's I'm not shooting new footage. I ain't got the budget.
I got no budget. I'm on the new CW now. All the money is going to swim in Loas. Whoops. But yeah, I love this arc. I love that we saw a lot with Nora again. I wish Bar had been here, but I'm guessing at this point, I don't know which one of you three keeps up most with his theater work. But was he doing it a play this season? I know one of you guys have mentioned it before, on.
Yes,
sure.
He was on Broadway for something. I don't remember what though.
I know he was before. I don't know what his most recent thing is. But he definitely keeps busy.
But yeah, that's it for me. I guess we will talk about the other future stuff later, but yeah, I guess Lacy, what were your thoughts?
Me, I pretty much agree with everyone else. I think Rick looks fantastic, just really rested and refreshed and glowing, and we love it for him. But I just like I don't know why. As much as I liked having Javicia on the show, like I would have given up Red Death to make this the whole season arc, because I think it would have been a really strong way to end the story of the Flash. But the pacing, we can feel however we need to feel about the graphic novels. I think they're not my favorite. Let's put it that way. Not my favorite way of structuring a story, but even like within the graphic novels this season, the pacing has just been like all over the place. Like it doesn't make any sense to me that we got last week's episode, which was terrible, and literally featured Eddie kind of wandering around for 45 minutes, even though we all knew that he was Eddie. I don't really feel like that was useful or told me anything I didn't know. And that was some more real estate within this graphic novel that we could have used to really tease out a lot of the things that this episode only gets like 5 minutes to touch on. Because I do think the thing that's interesting about this is that, like, on a lot of levels, Eddie does have a point. Like, it's fully easy to understand why he would, be resentful of Barry, why he would be angry that pretty much, I mean, it could have been worse. Like, they've definitely forgot Caitlin faster than they forgot poor Eddie, but like they did basically like, well, Eddie killed himself to save us all. Peace. And there's not, he's got some legit beef, and he's got like he should be able to feel his big feelings. And I think that if we had used that second episode of this 4-parter more judiciously with the Eddie stuff, as opposed to having him be like, am I Eddie Thawne? Am I other random man? I don't know. Like, I don't think that did anything, because we all knew he was Eddie. So I wish that they had structured this graphic novel. If we have to have the graphic novel format, which I think unnecessarily compresses things that don't necessarily need it, or drags things out that could be shorter, because it has to be in this number of episodes for the graphic novel. Like, I wish that it were better planned out where things in it had to happen. Because I think Eddie's feels very fitting to end the show on, but I don't feel like we've really gotten
I'm almost guessing, because I remember when the season started, Rick was cast in another show as a recurring guest, so I wonder if he was just generally busy.
Well,
and Eric,
maybe, but I'm just thinking about the Red Death thing where Javicia was in 2 episodes, and one of those 2 episodes was for 5 minutes at the end. She could have just shot all that at the same time. Like, I don't know why we couldn't have had something that a stand-in for him in some way, if we couldn't have had Rick. But I don't remember what show Rick was on, but I'm pretty sure that show got canceled.
I mean, what is not getting canceled these days? Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully we'll get some answers of, like, what's the season supposed to be structured differently? Were we supposed to have like one graphic novel? I don't mind the graphic novel, but I think this season it definitely.
Wait, hold up. Jordan Fisher is in Sweeney Todd right now. Who just said this to this?
I saw that in the comments.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I'm having like a small like freak out because I love Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
Who is he in Sweeney Todd? Who knows?
Like the young love interest guy whose name I can't remember. Jamie Campbell Bower plays him in the movie.
Oh yes. Right. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, continue. That blew my mind, and it's awesome. Good for him.
I think we're ready to move on to Cecile. I don't know why she gets the B story. I'd rather not talk about her at all, but
I just feel like there's so much to talk about. Well, it's not even like many different things. It's just different varieties of sucking.
But guys, in the chat, this will make you happy, Lee. It is Toddy Cab, so if we have to, so we at least will get something good out of talking about the worst nut in the Arrowverse.
So yes, because Barry is MIA, I think Grant was still taking a nap for most of this episode. There's only one person that we can call on, and that is Cecile, the second most powerful being in this or any other Earth. And
I mean, they just got a goddess last week, but Cecily's here.
yes. Yes. And did you guys know that she can project her consciousness and read people's minds across space and time?
Okay,
through
Professor X.
dimensions? Like, it's crazy. So she's going to project herself into herself, because who better to be than you? And she's going to be the best. Exactly. The best Cecile that she can be, so that she can find out what people are feeling in the future and then make sure they feel differently in a way that will save them, I guess. But while she's there, she learns that she has a snazzy outfit made from, I don't know, nuclear, bio, whatever. And her powers also cause her to not age one single day. Everyone else looks older. Iris looks older than Cecile in the future. I don't know why this happened. Cecile is crazy, banging, but she is not crazy about going home. And she finds out that she has not gone home more than twice in a year, because being a superhero is too amazing. So she's really upset about that in the present time, because she's like, but I love going home once a week. Why would this change to once every 6 months? That's crazy. And thankfully, she has Chester there to give her the greatest pep talk of our time and really lay down what it means to care about the home front. He's like, your husband and your one child, because the other one apparently disappeared in crisis and has never been heard from again, and we do not care about her at all, know that you love them. And they also know that being a superhero is much, much, much better than being at home with your family. So why would you think that they resent you for that? I'm sure that you have a great reason for going to Star Labs and just sitting there for 5 months, 3 weeks, and 6 days before you come to visit your friends and family, because they are busy, I don't know, cooking. I don't know what they're doing, but they're having a great time. You're having a great time. There's literally nothing to worry about. And Cecile's like, thank you so much, Chester, with your life experience and your great wisdom. You have really helped me see the light about my own family, even though I recently acknowledged that I missed my own mother's death because I was too busy working.
As a terrible lawyer.
Yes, as a terrible lawyer, working in ways that are irrelevant to anyone, that have never helped anyone a single day in their lives. I was too busy telling people what they feel when they feel it, while everyone else can tell that it is being felt. So thank you, Chester, for that. You really took one for the team there.
I mean, he used to be like a black hole or whatever, so maybe he's got cosmic knowledge.
Right, that's right. He was a black hole. And there are plenty of black holes or singularities, in this episode. So it was an apt metaphor that we love.
Sherlock talks about holes a lot. Boxes, black holes, singularity. It's only when Nate is here.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
Are you... I'm...
referencing your comment that they always reference from the
greatest comment ever uttered on this podcast,
which I literally don't remember what it is. But
How do you remember? Okay, I'll remember it, because basically we're talking about Diggle's alien box, because because Toddy was in the midst of the Toddy cap, yes. When Toddy writes David Ramsey, it is just so much funnier. But she's like, no, thank you, box. Yes, thank you, Lila's box.
That's right. That's
and
right.
I was done. I was done for the rest of the episode.
Brother Nate is never speechless.
I know, but you know what? That was my coup d'etat. That was my claim to fame. That was my fait accompli. There we go. Just like Cecile's is to be the greatest superhero of our space and time, and we thank her. I don't remember anything else she did. I just blacked out with rage, but I'm sure she saved the day. And Barry was not even needed. He could just continue to nap, or he continue to think that Iris looks really hot with gray hair, which we'll talk about later. So first off, Nate, please tell us how you felt about the real Cecile.
Yes. Thank you for such a virtuous tidy cap. I appreciate that. Somebody got that. Here's the thing, because when you were here's the thing, because when you were going over that recap, Toddy, I it never occurred to me until you just started talking, and Andy alluded to it. The last time you and I talked on the Flash podcast, I wished that a superhero would abandon their family, throw away these kids, this wife that you don't ever see, and put on the damn ring and be a part of that superhero life. That's what I wanted for John Diggle. And this week we got the flip side of that. We got
be careful what you wish for.
Right. When you wish ill on someone.
I wish I put it in the universe. Like, can we please have a superhero that just doesn't care about their family? And instead of that fate falling on John Diggle, it found its way to Cecile. And not great, guys. Here's the thing. I think I can speak for all of us. Like, we like Danny, man. Danny's good. What they have given Danny has not been great for a long, long time. And so, like, I understand you have to have a supporting cast. And I like Chester. I like Allegra. Hashtag Chalegra supremacy. But it feels like so often in these episodes, they are not three-dimensional characters, and we are exposition devices. And we are a means to an end. And so, yes, like I guess we needed this to get Cecile to the point where she becomes the Ancient One by the end of the episode and punches
oh my god,
the negative speed force out of Nora's body somehow, because that's also a power of the mind. I guess we has one punch Cecile. But no, like I did not enjoy this part of the story. The only thing I will say is that thankfully it was kind of brief and contained, and we didn't spend a lot of time. Like, we've had other episodes this season and last season where we just kind of dragged on with the Cecile stuff. But this one, in this episode, like, we didn't even get to go back the second time when Cecile went back. Like, we saw her, like, I'm ready to go back. We didn't see her enter her future body again, if I'm not remembering. I mean, if I'm not missing anything. So at least we fast forwarded to the part where Cecile saves the day, as she should, because she is the most powerful creature in the entire multiverse.
And we are so happy to see it. Thank you. All right. Andy, would you like to share your feels?
Do I have to?
You don't have to. We can skip you.
So, what I feel is that I cannot believe we wasted money on a new suit for her. I've been waiting to do this for a long time, y'all. This is my, again, I am the true avatar of the negative speed force.
Are you like Scott Summers from X-Men right now? What is happening?
It's called I Don't Give Two Shits Anymore.
Oh, no.
So
only the one.
Yeah, you know what, Nate? You know what, Nate? I do like Diana Nicolette. Never spoken to the woman. I've never even met her. I've heard she's nice in interviews. What would I know? I was never offered. But this character is what Felicity became in the later seasons of Arrow. I'm sorry, Lacy, but again, Felicity got better.
Felicity was never this bad. Okay, continue your feels. No Felicity derailing. I'm sorry. Just
yeah. But I will just say Felicity did get better in the later seasons, but like in season 3 and 4, I was like, I cannot stand this woman. But here's what I will say about Cecile. We wasted money on her getting a new suit. And this thing, this character is not a character. Because a character would need consistency. For her to go, like, in the beginning of the season, oh my God, Joe, I'm so happy that we're going to be a long-distance relationship. And I'm going to see my daughter twice a week. And then next week, she's like, I'm struggling with my job that I never go to. And for real, she's a horrible lawyer, so, fuck that. But, like, she's gone to more parties this season than she's gone to her actual job. So like when
it's called networking, Andy.
Wear her business card. No, she's too busy putting on them leather pants. This woman is like everywhere she goes. It's leather pants this, leather pants that. I'm like, we're not gonna do that. So for me, when she's sitting there and crying her heart out, and Portia, Chester is another victim of this season. He has had no storyline other than to be Allegra's boy toy to kiss, come up with actual toys for the Team Flash to use. He has had no storyline. this is horrible. But the fact that when she's crying her heart out and being like, "Oh my God, poor me," I'm like, you put yourself in this situation, Miss Ma'am. This is your fault. So like the fact that she doesn't even go to her, to that house more than twice a year in the future. I'm like, if the shoe fits, at this point, I'm sure Kramer is probably Jenna's new mother than Cecile ever was. Yeah. What was that? I've had enough. I'm just gonna accept that she's breathing in the series finale, and just move on from there. There's nothing to look for. I'm not excited to see anything with her. Only when she has her mouth shut, I'm okay. Or when she's not telling us how to feel so. And also, this week I was even more sensitive to that sound effect they use when she uses her powers. I'm like, it's gonna be so great that after next week we will never fucking hear that sound ever again. We're gonna be free from that pain. So yeah, Cecile is one of the worst things that has ever happened to the Arrowverse. She's one of the worst things that happened this season, and she's the biggest hypocrite. And Joe should dump her fucking ass and get a better woman. And fuck you, Cecile.
That was very succinctly put. Very beautiful. Very moving. It was true poetry. Thank you. Lacy, would you like to speak your words if you can follow that up?
I'm trying to figure out how to follow that up, but I will say two things. One, I'm really glad that we had to wait until the end of the season to find out that the team has a literal goddess on it, only to have that goddess do nothing while Cecile does like 57 things, because I guess that's fine. And two, we have got to talk about the outfit, you guys. Like, poor Quixote is out here wearing like literally a coat that's made out of like carpet.
Right.
Like, right? She's like, right.
Like, they clearly didn't give her Caitlin's wardrobe.
Like, she's got Quixote's out here with nothing, and Cecile's got a whole superhero costume. Because
not to interrupt you, but do you want to know where they got that costume from,
Party
Lacy?
City?
They stole it from another black woman.
The answer is Party City.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What is this?
I wondered where the name came from. I'm like,
I know.
wow,
I was like, what is
very
this
highly
to do
of
with
yourself.
anything? Does she feel really good about abandoning her family? I don't know.
But yeah, look at this. Like, yeah, because Twitter has been angry all day, which I understand. Is a black female superhero created by Gail Simone, a lesbian black superhero.
Well, now we know why Cecile never wants to hang out with Joe.
It's levels to it.
I know. Look at the storytelling, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's just thank you, whoever just said, where did this name come from? I guess they just borrowed it from Wikipedia, but also it makes no sense. It makes no sense to her or her character.
Right.
Well, here's the thing.
She's saying that caring about your family is just virtue signaling. So she is true virtue. She is caring about the family of the world.
Okay, so let's look at this. These are her powers: empathy, enhanced senses, astral projection, fear projection. Well, then Cecile must be succeeding in that, because we're fearing in how to love her. Transformation, intangibility, and flight. Eric.
Oh my God, is Cecile gonna fly?
Everyone quiet. Eric, I beg you, please tell me that you didn't write a scene with Cecile next week where she's flying. I cannot take it. Not even Superboy.
What does intangibility, like, what does that mean as a superpower? Is that like,
this plot was intangible?
It's like one of my you know,
like, you
Martian,
can't be touched, or
wait.
You're not solid?
Lacy, do you remember Martian Manhunter?
I mean, that Martian Manhunter existed, yes, and was an alien.
Yeah, but yeah, he can do that. He can basically like people can go through him. Like, he can go through people.
He can phase.
Exactly.
I wouldn't call that intangibility though.
But yeah, I'm
giving this more thought than they did on the show.
Oh, look, she also has hand-to-hand combat skills and technical analysis, none of which Cecile has.
Not yet.
We're gonna see, but yeah, she I do think this is a bad thing that they took this from another character just to give her a suit. Like,
Keon's out here in rags. It's fine.
But Cecile, oh my! I almost called you Cecile. Lacy.
Wow.
It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing as.
Oh, I know. I totally get.
Yeah.
I just said like, really, she gets a whole ass outfit, and Keon gets nothing. Like, it's just rude. It's also like that out. It looks like it came from Party City. I'm sorry. Like, it's horrible.
At least she had a costume. Allegra looks like she's about to go pick up her kids from soccer.
Yes.
Like she's wearing Lululemon.
Yes.
Like her costume is like a trench coat. I don't know.
And did they just get through fighting 0 Hour? Like, was that the comic book illusion we were given when they said they beat the Monarch?
Oh, you mean the Chronarch?
The Chronarch? Like, is that the illusion they were going for?
I don't know, because I feel like Chronarch was supposed to be the season 10 villain.
I'm glad we didn't get season 10.
Oh, Chronarch versus Virtue. Oh my goodness.
I would not have wanted season 10 maybe, but I would have at least wanted a few more episodes.
Oh yeah, no, I just mean Chronarch. Like, if that's where we're at in season 10, we don't need season 10.
Oh my god, look at Electra's comment. Look at Electra's comment. I'm dying.
So...
Oh wow.
I'm dying.
Wow.
Beautiful.
It's got real Sixth Doctor vibes. That's all I know.
It is.
Like,
It definitely
real
does.
Colin Baker happening. In here.
I love that. That's how they keep it fresh in their relationship. That's why Cecile's like, wow, I can't believe you're still like newlyweds. It's because it's like
they're just going through like different doctor new doctor.
Exactly. All right, so Breeze.
Yeah, I mean,
Breeze,
I think we
girl?
pretty much said everything. I am so sick of saying, oh, I like Danny Nicolette, but I hate Cecile. Like, yes, we say this every week. I'm so tired of it. Why are we wasting time on the penultimate episode on a character who should be no more than a supporting character? I fully believe that Kramer's at the country house with Joe, just living their best lives, retired. I don't know why it's insinuated that Jenna's still at the country house in 2049 when she would be like in her 30s. Like, she just lives out in the woods with her dad still, I guess. I guess
her mom
she
was
just
never
homeschooled.
around.
I don't know. Because apparently Cecile is also homeschooling her, teaching her multiplication. I don't know. Anyway, yeah,
Does Cecile know multiplication? What do we think?
She feels multiplication.
She knows how to multiply my hatred for her.
But especially like on the heels of because I watched this episode tonight on the heels of the news that we were not getting any Cisco and not even a cameo in the finale. I'm just like,
it for us.
I'm just like, F this. I don't care about any of them. Like, it's not their fault, but I just, at this point, it should have just been Barry and Iris, because I do not care about Chester, Allegra, or Cecile. So that's all my thoughts on that.
Don't forget Mark's back.
Okay.
Mark's back.
At least he was trying to be useful this episode, I guess. He was trying to figure stuff out.
What did he do? I genuinely don't forget. I don't remember
He
what
was drawing on a board. I think he was doing math.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I didn't know he knew math. But
Cecile taught him multiplication.
I mean, I knew that Mark would probably. I knew that Mark would probably do math, but I didn't know he could do math.
And it looked like some really complicated math too. So Cecile must be like a really good teacher.
But he was trying, so A for effort, because that's more than he usually does.
Well, he could have been shirtless when he was trying.
So you know that he is maturing. He's wearing clothes now.
He's a changed man.
Anytime I see him with clothes now, I just
what the going on in here on this day?
That's what I'm going through. That's what I'm going through when I see him with clothes now. Oh, we haven't played these in a while.
Tatiana is amazing.
So true. Thank you, Charlie.
How you doing, Tatiana?
I am doing great.
That's the one.
That is the one, because that one's actually about me.
This one is also fun.
Beyonce.
That's how the show treats Cecile. Cecile.
And whenever Cecile is talking,
the bingle bongle dingle dangle, yickety doo, yickety da, ping pong, lippy tappy toota.
Can we just talk about it that David Tennant says that, like, it's so natural to him that I'm like, I can barely form sentences on a regular basis, but he can just like roll that language.
He's a trained Shakespearean actor. He can do.
And that's why he's the best. That's why he's the best doctor, obviously.
Wow, we can fight.
Oof.
Eccleston was in for one season. He didn't really do that much anyway.
Wow.
Andy is burning this to the ground on the way out.
Just going outside, throwing hands in a minute.
Why don't you? How can you not love David Tennant?
I do love David Tennant, but Eccleston is my doctor, and Eccleston brought the show back. And
I think everyone has their own doctor. So
PCAP is my second favorite.
I do. Peter Capaldi was so underrated. People hated on him for no reason.
Well, he got the worst stories.
And he was generally horrible in season 8. Or series 8, I guess. Literally the whole triangle with him and Clara and what's the name of that black dude they turned into a Cyberman? Yeah.
Wasn't it dating?
Nate, if only you saw how they treat black characters on Doctor Who, you would be like, oof.
Isn't the new Doctor black though?
Yes, Shiri Gadwa. He's also.
But the thing is, but the good thing is that we have Russell T Davies back. Stephen Moffat doesn't seem to really like black people, from what I understand.
I don't think Stephen Moffat likes anyone except for white men, so he doesn't like women either.
He was just like,
unless you're like Laura Pulver, he likes or Alex Kingston. He likes a very specific kind of woman.
I mean, what's not to love about Alex Kingston?
No, I love Alex Kingston, but all of his characters are some variation of River Song.
You know, what if River Song had become the Doctor at some point? What if River Song killed Cecile?
Cage match.
Why are you all so shocked when I say that that Cecile's so good that she shouldn't live?
Because I just don't feel that strongly. I would just like her to go to her country house and go away.
I know, go raise your child.
Wait. Hold on. Let me call someone. Hi, Cecile. I need you to tell me how Breeze is feeling. Because obviously she can't tell me herself.
We would never know. What if she's lying?
Yeah, Toddy doesn't even know either how she feels.
Breeze's feelings are intangible.
Yes, they're intangible.
We're about to go Corner. So instead of Lacy telling us how she feels, how about you tell us how Lacy feels about Keon Corner? You worthless piece of sack. So anyway,
literally
I don't like her.
Anyone could guess how Lacy feels about Keon Corner. We don't need an empath for that.
I like her goes like, I love how the Flash podcast just turned to a Doctor Who podcast. Well, that's the crossover I want. That's the crossover I want with television podcast. I want to have Lacy's co-host on, but I guess Lacy doesn't think we're cool enough. Wow. No, I'm kidding. But I want to do a crossover. You guys have fun over there.
I'm reading the comments now. Mads with the anthem. I'm pro Cecile living, just not.
Exactly. Wow. Send her to the woods with her invisible child.
That's why the Flash Park is excited to announce that we're selling these exclusive "Fuck You Cecile" glasses, preventing you to be able to see anything that has to do with her at all, unless she literally used her telepathic powers without your consent to rip them off your face.
Which she could.
Yeah, she could, because she's Cecile. She's Cecile.
Powerful.
She's the seal. She can do anything. Like, fuck the anti-monitor. Like, this is who we should have had in Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like, like Tobias Who? No, Cecile would have been the one to take over Freeland.
Now I'm imagining Cecile as the anti-monitor and how different Crisis would have been. That's a fascinating thought.
Dr. J is more useful as a character than fucking Cecile is.
Dr. J saved 14 kids.
14 kids. Cecile cannot even save one kid to save her own life. Kobe, this is just evil. Well, if it's a spin-off, we're not gonna cover it. There won't be a Cecile podcast on DC podcast. I can confirm that right away. The only way it happens is if I die young and somehow my will gets tampered with. Because in my will, I will say whoever inherits the DC podcast network will not be allowed to do a Cecile podcast.
Who on the DC podcast network would want to do a Cecile podcast?
Hey, Lituation Room got y'all covered.
Yeah.
Wall to wall Cecile.
Give Clement some gummies, and I'm sure he will come up with a fun fun idea.
Yeah, I do want to hear Clement Bryan's thoughts on Cecile. That would be fascinating.
Okay.
I love that man.
So what is? I love them too so much. I still just thought it was so funny that I didn't know that Clement and Lacy had known each other for all this time, and then I was like, "Hey, you guys should meet." I literally, whenever we were at Comic-Con or something, I was like, "Hey, Lacy, this is Clement," and you're like, "Yeah, we know each other." Nothing, Lacy, nothing.
I mean, it's true. We
It's
did.
true.
We did know each other.
How did you guys know each other again? Were you guys in high school or something?
No, we just both work in digital media in our day jobs.
Oh,
and
okay.
He lived down here in our area, so we were both part of.
Wait a minute! I have a gift.
Oh no!
I have a gift from Miss Electra because Electra is awesome, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm
Electra.
so scared right now.
Yes.
If you
coming to Disney Plus.
Over my dead body, only to be killed by Wanda and
give the people what they want.
Agatha Harkness and Wanda kills Cecile, Dr. Cecile. I was literally like, when they did it to Miss JPK, I'm like, guys, you guys you're now. It's like this is like basically Cecile Days of Future Past, and Doctor Strange into the multiverse of into the Cecile Madness. Cecile Madness. There you go. So that a horrible movie that the Doctor Strange writers can write after not watching WandaVision. Whoops. But good job, Electra. She was like, I was inspired by Photoshop. Something after watching tonight's episode of Team Cecile, The Flash. So you know what? You're getting a retweet for that, Electra. Good job. What is the next topic? Which one of you wrote this? Which one of you wrote the name of the storyline?
This feels like this has Toddy vibes all over it.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Tatiana Hollander, like what a gift to humanity. Toddy Hollander for president 2024. Barry, the C story is Barry wants a MILF as long as she's Iris, and boy, did we have some steamy scenes with them, like again, I have never seen two people just looking at each other. I'm just like, just fuck already. But Barry actually gets to meet future Iris. Again, somehow she looks older than Cecile. Like, none of these people age. Like, we need to talk about this. The Arrow does not know how to do old people's stories. Like, it's like in Arrow season 7 when we had to see like old Dinah Drake and old Roy Harper, and like all they did was just add like a few wrinkles and just have them like, whisper their voice so they sound old. And I'm like, guys, we need to do more. But we do get some Sweet West album because we don't even see our Iris in this episode. She's in labor at the hospital, and we get a reaffirmation that even in 24/9 they still love each other very much. And they still want to bang each other like crazy. Bernard, how was it seeing old Miss Iris West Island?
For all the nitpicks I've had with this episode and to this season, to a large extent, Andy, the center remains. I dug the scene we got with current Barry and future Iris, and just like the little moments in that scene, which like I haven't seen you look like this in so long, and now that makes me want to see like what old man Barry looks like or future Barry, because technically I don't know how speedsters age. I'm not a scientist like Cecile. I'm not. It's true. But
mathematician Miss Cecile Warden.
Yes, she's a mathematician, a scientist, a woman of many talents. But just the heart that you got from Candace and Grant here, man. It rang true, and I needed more. I think that's the theme, because it occurred to me just like hearing everybody talk about this episode and the season as a whole. It feels like a pretty good microwave pizza. Like, you know what? It ain't great, but you know what? I put it in the microwave for 5 minutes and it came out pretty decent. But you know what would have made that 5-minute microwave pizza even better, Lacy? If I put the oven on 345 degrees and let it cook. And they did not let a lot of things cook in this season.
As opposed to just shoving it in the oven without turning the oven on.
Yeah, that's probably the worst way to eat this microwave pizza in this analogy. But like the moments we've had this season with Barry and Iris, I've really enjoyed it. It's felt more grounded and more true to who these two people are and who this couple is that we've been watching over these years. And so, yeah, it makes total sense that she doesn't even miss a beat. She just walks in like, hey, my my dead ex-boyfriend that I left him for and ended up marrying you, he's back and he's evil. But yeah, I know you ain't my Barry, but you're my Barry from like 20 years ago. And yeah, it's a crazy situation, but we're happy. I'm like, yeah, I totally get that, Iris. So yeah, I hope that in next week's episode, because they got a lot of stuff that they've got to get through. I hope the core of it remains these two people, because if you don't stick that landing, then I don't think you stick the landing of this series.
Well said.
Please, you want to take it from here?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, and that's kind of what I was angrily getting at earlier, is like at this point, the only thing that matters is Barry and Iris. I don't need all this other fluff. It's about their future.
Even Breeze has forgotten about Caitlin.
Well, okay, I didn't forget about her. I've just given up on her getting an ending. So, I mean, if we get an ending, great. But my expectations are below zero right now. But yeah, I thought that was a really good scene, and you can tell older Iris definitely thirsty for younger Barry too. So, you know, though as a speedster, he really shouldn't have aged much at all. Not that she's aged much at all either. Like, I don't even believe she would have gray hair by now, because like, look at Joe, he's like old and doesn't look at it all. So but yeah, I thought that was a good scene, and it'll be interesting. I do hope we get a glimpse of future Barry, like, even though what's with all these superheroes that are always in space, like always like, oh, Kara and John couldn't come because they're in space. Like, I don't believe that. Like, no.
Why can't we send Cecile to space and let her stay there?
I mean, I did like the Watchtower reference, like reminds me of watching Justice League cartoon as a kid, but yeah. So now I'm just
the ones that are in space are the ones that can fly. I don't really know how Barry got to space.
Well, like in the
teleporters.
Yeah,
beamed him up.
Yeah, Miss Star Trek. There's teleporters. Or is that just only
49? They better start building.
That's probably alien technology.
You know what happened? In 2049, Anson Mount arrived on this Earth and gives everyone with what the fuck are they called on Star Trek?
Transporters.
His hotness? I don't know. I don't know where we're going with this.
Just change the course of humanity with his hair.
The beam machines, like the thing that teleports or whatever. Like what do they call
the
them?
Transporter.
Is it just called? Wow, that show
they're called transporters.
That sounds basic as fuck.
Sorry, they don't have Cisco there to name it for them.
Oh yeah, well Cisco's apparently dead. But apparently Anson Mount almost played Lex Luthor on Smallville.
Interesting.
That makes
I was like,
I don't know if I like that timeline.
Like when I saw it on their podcast, I was like, I don't care if Lacy's asleep. I need to wake her. But then I fell asleep.
Would he have been bald though?
Yeah, he said he didn't mind shaving his head.
But he's not allowed to do that.
Leave that head of hair alone.
But this was like early 2000s. This was early 2000s, Anson Mount.
But think of the ripple effects. What if he liked being bald and never grew out his hair for Captain Pike? Then we'd all be much less thirsty, and it'd be a terrible world.
We've already got a bald Starfleet captain. You ain't him.
Exactly. There's only room for one.
Didn't his show end?
Yeah, I talked about it for like 3 episodes in a row.
It ended gloriously.
I don't remember anything.
You want me to talk? I will talk more about Picard.
Listen. Toddy has first dibs when we're talking about K-dramas, because otherwise I bet she will leave this podcast if we talk about anything other than K-dramas after The Flash, because somehow I promised her. I don't know how that even happened. Like, even I was drunk, or like
it's her power.
Toddy's intangible.
It was my power.
Did I promise this to you like during a car ride to Comic-Con? Or was it when like you stole my Netflix login at the hotel and logged in just to give your show ratings? I kid you not, this woman did it. I went to the shower,
remember
and then I
that.
come out, and I'm like, what are you watching? And she's like, something call. I'm like, oh, you found your Netflix password? And she was like, no, I'm using your login. I'm like, you use my login. That is copyright music that we cannot play. I'm sorry, Toddy. But yeah, I don't remember how we got how I promised her that. But yeah, first K-drama, then we would do Charmed, then we would do Star Trek, and then the fuck we're doing Smallville. Because
you're giving us a lot to think about, Andy.
There's a long road ahead of us, clearly.
Yeah, no, Toddy, don't pretend that you think
Star Trek is back in less than a month, people.
Ooh.
Get ready for the hair to return.
I haven't started Strange New Worlds yet.
It's really good.
Are you getting to play with? I mean, not play. Are you getting to play with him or interview him? Lacy.
I would love to interview him if anyone has connections.
I'll manifest that for Lacy.
Yeah, I guess I could just DM him. He just followed me.
Put it out into the
Slide
universe.
into his DMs.
Slide into his DMs.
When Grant Gustin was on Twitter, he used to follow me.
Okay, see, this is why we need to do Star Trek, so Lacy can slide into his DMs and get him on the podcast.
Yeah, but again, we have promised Toddy first.
Oh my! I don't want to be hated. Oh my goodness!
We can never hate you.
I would rather do the hating.
You will be hated if you pick a bad K-drama that none of us like. You need to pick something that is going to hook us for life.
Pick a good K-drama.
Yeah, that's what I fucking said.
Better K-drama than Citizen Kane.
Citizen K-drama.
Wait, I thought Citizen Kane was a movie.
It is. I'm just quoting Brooklyn Nine-Nine. When she's like, pick a good movie, he's like, I will pick a better movie than Citizen Kane.
Okay, let's hear Lacy be angry for a second in her corner, and then we will get going.
I mean, this will literally take 30 seconds because that is how long Keon was in this episode. So Keon Corner is a sad and desolate place. I don't know why we had to bother with all of this BS about turning her into a literal goddess if they were going to do absolutely nothing with it, and 0 people were going to react to this news. I'm not sure about you guys, but if I were a person who was just told, hey, your weird new friend is literally the goddess of all like nature and creation and possibly Earth entirely, I might react to that. I'm weird. Who can say? I don't know. This sucks. Keon Corner is just on fire. I hate it. I don't think we don't even need to go around the horn too much unless anybody else needs to get some feels out about this because literally Keon.
How about this? Can you just give us some teasers? Like, are you happy with where we end with her?
Wait for what? This episode?
Oh, right. Finale.
I can't even I can't say anything because people know too much about how I feel about this character that won't be able to read into it. So I'm not going to say anything. I will say on the whole, I thought the finale was the best part of this 4-parter.
Ooh.
Take that as you will. The bar is not super high, but there's a lot of stuff in it that I think people will like. And Rick still looks great. Some other people who are on the show look great.
This still sucks.
I don't even think I need to confirm or deny that.
I don't know what to say about Keon Corner. Like I only noticed the coat this week.
It's really bad. Like
did she lost a bet or something? Like what? Why?
Like, where did that even come from? Was that just like in the closet at Star Labs and they were like, "Guess this will fit you," or like Frost bought it while she was drunk? I don't know.
The Stone Age.
It's horrible. Again, much like no one cared that Caitlyn is dead. No one cares that Keon literally has the cosmic power of God because I don't know.
Keon Corner is in the mud right now, folks.
Keon Corner is just like on fire. You know all those videos of like people burning things in Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom where they just like strap Koroks to things and light them on fire? That's what Keon Corner is doing right now.
Yeah, why didn't anybody not only mention like, hey, we're in a jam, why don't you use some of your godlike powers?
They're like, no, we'll get Cecile to do it.
Yes,
instead.
we'll get Cecile to do it, but also like nobody had the time to be like, didn't last week you said you were gonna leave us after all this? What's that about? Like, let's unpack that a little bit, Keon. No.
For people who are listening to this, I just realized that they can't even see this. I'm just waving my fuck Cecile glasses.
Is that going to be the title of this episode?
We'll get taken down.
Yeah, I would advise against it, Andy.
Definitely get flagged by something.
You could say fruit Cecile.
I'm sure some loony white person would be offended somehow if I made it a title. So
Wait, a white person.
Because white people are usually most offended by the most
by curses.
Things. Yeah,
like profanity.
No offense.
They clutch their pearls.
Lazy.
That's true. I did tell Andy not to curse him before we started.
Breeze proving your point.
Already typing my takedown.
Yes.
My takedown.
DCTV podcast, the filth on your network. There are young children listening to this, trying to do their multiplication.
They're just trying to learn multiplication from Cecile.
To any child that's listening to this, if you listen to this podcast and not doing your schoolwork, your parents are the problem, not us.
Wow.
Now you're going for parents across America.
Andy
not just America, every country. I don't care.
Well, tonight. Yes, all countries.
Listen. I have to our listeners. When the show is over, tea will be spilled, tsunamis will be launched, and you understand why I have lost my patience.
But have you lost your virtue?
No, we can get rid of her.
You know what?
We're just getting more and more virtue.
She would be 70 years old at least in 2049. How the fuck is she running around as a superhero?
Science,
plot armor,
intangibility.
All right, let's. Anybody else have any Keo quarter thoughts, or am I?
Pour one out for Keo.
I feel bad for Daniel Panabaker.
I know. All right. Let's do feedback. Feedback might make me feel better after the sadness of Keo quarter.
Well, it depends on what people are saying.
Oh yeah, let's see what they're saying. All right, hold on. There I am. All right, let's go with tweets. Girl Who Writes says, the episode made me fear Cecile taking over space on the finale more than before. Keon is a worry too. I don't know why Keon wasn't in this episode. I just wanted Barry to be the hero for once. And after the teaser and promo, I just want next week to arrive. Bridgerton
the trailer does look pretty great.
Bridgerton Girl says Eddie's scenes with negative Speed Force Nora, Barry, and Iris were very good, but the rest, I cannot stress enough how ridiculous it is to have half of the second to last episode ever focused on side characters. Also, a personal nitpick, why do we have to see Cringe Allegra again?
Wait, say that again.
Cringe Allegra? I think that's like cringy Chester and Allegra, but I don't think I'm saying they're smooshed named together very well.
I think there's some more tweets from her.
Maybe
I can read. I have it up. I can add that.
Okay, thank you.
Go back. Every episode, but Barry and future Iris don't even hug. There's scenes where Rush and Grant got COVID in the last episode, so probably the last episode's unscripted kiss was their last ever. Lacy.
Grant got COVID in the last episode. That's
how.
Yeah.
Did you not notice it when you were watching?
I did not know that.
Okay, but can you tell? Like, do they kiss in the finale?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay.
Actually, yes. I'm positive. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Both from Manning and story-wise, the leads have been getting sidelines by the side characters, and it's ridiculous. At this rate, the finale will be Cecile and Keon with a dash of Shalega, with Nora's birth and the lead's time might be CGI or not shown at all. Lacy?
I'm trying to imagine what Nora's CGI birth would look like on the Flash budget. Think about it, guys.
Okay. Please just think. Oh God! Thanks for putting that thought in my head.
Sorry if I have to think about it. You do too. All right. DigiRanger 1994 says the future depictions of the characters were embarrassingly low effort The negative Speed Force's influence turned Eddie into power-hungry incel. I can't wait to see how he's made over as the Avatar, whether it's a straightforward cobalt blue or something else. At Kobe10605052 says, definitely was a good episode, but just very disappointed that Barry didn't show up until the last 30 minutes in the second to last episode. This has been a problem the entire season of not enough Barry. And then Homelander says, why do Allegra and Iris look like they are older than Cecile in the future? I didn't like that.
From Facebook and Instagram, Brian McDonald says, got a little worried in the first half with no Barry, but then it picked up and got really good. But seriously, can people stop encouraging Cecile to abandon her family, please? But outside of that nonsense, really enjoying what they're doing with Eddie and Cobalt Blue. And this is coming from someone who hated original Cobalt Blue storyline. Ooh, how about that? From John Patrick Van Pal, this is for you, buddy, in the chat. Hey, everyone at the Flash Podcast, part 3. I thought the flashback sequences were super, and seeing Baran in one of those flashback sequences, I thought the Eddie Fawn was okay, and I said it because at the beginning of tonight's episode, I saw Norwood Allen was somehow connected to Eddie in the past. Yeah, that's from 806 from last season. But what threw me off is how is Baran connected to Eddie Fawn's storyline in season since neither Nora or Bard weren't even around when Eddie was a series regular back in season 1. Well, he does travel back. They did travel back in time. To the year 2013, and they met him, and that's the end of it. And at Arrow_OTA_Lizzie says, Eric Wallace went full Eric Wallace. Eric, if you're listening, their words, not mine. Virtue, more like deadbeat. Wow, more like deadbeat. Iris' wig was falling off, failing on all fronts. There's no excuse for the title character to have 10 minutes of screen time in the last 3 episodes. He wasn't in just 10 minutes. Was he? Because I know he shows like towards like the middle of it, but he's like not just in 10 minutes. Lacy, what were we gonna say?
I was gonna say I think it just feels like there's a lot of because I know I texted you guys when I was watching it. I was like, it feels like there's so much to see.
Yeah.
There's just so much other stuff.
Bloody Heroes and Legends. Ooh, that's a good name. Great. Short and sweet. And Michael Lewis 6 says, I love that. And PokerSharp87 says, Flash didn't show up until 30 minutes in. He got his butt kicked and then was saved by true main character Birch.
I really would love to know what the writers room is thinking when it comes to Cecile. I really would love to know. But first, I would love to know which emails Breeze would like to take versus my taking. I feel like I can take Mads and then you can do the other two because Mads is as long as the other two's combined.
Sounds good.
Okay, Mads. Remember last week when we all said we wanted less of Cecile? We really should have just taken what we could get. In one of my emails earlier this season, I proposed the question, how much leveling up is too much leveling up for Cecile? And I think the writers took that as a challenge. So, for different hearing aids, something which she possesses none of. I guess this is meant to be the show's version of Virtue from the comics, only not as cool and also not as gay.
Also not as cool, also not as gay.
Do her superpowers apparently include super healing? Because where the hell was her sling from getting injured last week? In the least surprising character development of any series, Cecile is apparently an even worse mother in the future. I really do not understand this trend of having Cecile acknowledge she's a terrible mother, having another character validate her and say, well, hey, at least you love them probably, and then having Cecile double down on her choices. It happened in 906 with Allegra and in this episode with Chester. Child neglect isn't a joke, writers. My other thing is this really didn't even need to be a plot point at all. Joe and Jenna never needed to leave Central City. They could have just been off screen. In this episode, they could have told us that Cecile sees her family every day in the future, and it wouldn't have affected anything. But instead, they're choosing to write her being a terrible mother, having her acknowledge she's a terrible mother, and then ultimately decide that it's worth it because the leather suit is that comfy? The world just needs her that much? She should get some tips from Barry on how to balance family life, because even from outer space, he seems to maintain a connection with his family. Right? Oh my God.
Right. This is actually, you know what this is? This is sexism. They're saying Barry can have it all, but Cecile cannot. Oh my God. Anyway, having a hard time understanding the decision to have the penultimate episode of the series focus largely on Cecile, especially when her story didn't even connect to the larger story of Cobalt Blue. And then to not even have Barry in the episode until halfway through and Iris showing up even later, it's just a really odd choice. Barry and Iris are the main driving force behind Eddie turning into Cobalt Blue, so they should have been the focus of the episode. That concludes my Cecile rant. Thank you. Now on to the rest. Loved Rick's scenes in this episode. He and Jessica played well off each other, especially when he became Cobalt Nora and started taunting him. Someone please burn that blonde Karen wig that Nora had on. His scenes with Grant were also fantastic, and I actually started to feel bad for Eddie. The best moment of all was Iris telling Eddie he ain't shit, though, because it's always been Barry for her. There's part of me that was a little nervous they may retcon that, but I'm glad they kept the established fact that Barry was always the only person for Iris, even when she didn't realize it. I do still wish that it had been longer than 4 episodes. I think it could have been a great season-long storyline. It's still been great so far, but we only saw Eddie becoming Cobalt Blue at the end of this episode, and now we only have 1 episode to deal with everything and actually see him be Cobalt Blue. Are you inside my mind? This is exactly how I feel. While also wrapping up each character's personal storyline. I'm concerned we're going to end up with a very rushed finale, and I don't want the show to go out on that note. Other thoughts?
Wait. Lacy, can you add some hope to that? I'm weaponizing Lacy tonight. I'm sorry.
I know this is really unfair.
You want to talk about unfair? No, I'm kidding.
Oh my
Go
God.
on. Go on.
I will say that the finale will really make you feel like it would have been great if we could have seen more of the Eddie stuff.
Oh boy.
Because Rick is really great in it. He gets some really great scenes with a variety of people, and spoiler alert, a great outfit. He just he looks.
Oh, that's not a spoiler.
So
it's out there.
He looks so good, and I don't know. I kind of alluded to this a little bit when I talked about it earlier, but I just feel like that second episode of this 4-parter where he just sort of wanders around lost for 45 minutes. We could have done something else besides that. I just wish that there were more of it, because it is true that we do only get one real Cobalt Blue episode. And
yeah.
Do they even say the name Cobalt? Did they even say the name Cobalt Blue?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, which is that's not a spoiler. We know he's Cobalt Blue. And the costume has been in the trailer, so it's out there. So CW Lacy did not break any embargo, because unlike you, she actually has integrity.
Oh boy!
But
what are other virtue?
Nate, you're on a timeout. You're on a timeout. You do not call her that.
Oh my goodness!
But I don't have the shiny plastic outfit, so there's that.
No, she would have a cool Star Trek uniform. I don't know which color you would have. Whatever color the wife would have to the captain in the Star Trek universe.
That's not how
Is that not how it works?
Uniforms work.
So there's not like a president's lady, the first lady or something.
That's not how Starfleet works.
It's like the military.
I'm trying to think. Well, I guess Riker and Troy were married.
Yes.
At one point, but she still had the same color on because she was
they were already officers.
She was still blue and he was still red.
Sorry, Toddy.
Yeah. So final thoughts from Mads are super glad they finally decided to flash the year across the screen, because otherwise I would not have been able to tell that this was 2049. Nobody has visibly aged except Iris. You expect me to believe that Cecile is pushing 80 and looks like that? I can only believe in the impossible so much. Still unclear whether
I have to say, I love that everybody else is finally on my wavelength about not understand what I last week did not realize that it was supposed to be in 2049.
Hey, I did not either. I was very confused.
And now I just this week I actually really paid attention, to let me see the little signs. It's like, oh, it's 2049, but it literally everything just looks the same. So I don't.
Yep.
Except the lighting is worse. The lighting in the future is darker.
So in conclusion, terrible. All right. Still unclear on whether Eddie was walking around in this body the whole time, or if Malcolm Gilmore looked like someone else until Eddie took over. Because again, how would nobody have recognized him? I don't hate Telegra, but I do hate that we always have to have someone telling us how cute they are. I feel like that's something that should probably speak for itself without needing to have Cecile tell us. Finally, I'm once again asking, can somebody please call Joe and tell him his daughter is in labor? It's hard to believe there's only 1 week left of the show. I have a lot of mixed emotions. I don't know what to do with any of them. But I'm going to start by stocking my house with tissues and ice cream and maybe a bit of liquor. See you all next week for the final run. Thanks for sticking with us, Mads.
Okay, and from Libby, we have High Flash Podcast. It's the second to last episode of The Flash. I don't think it has hit me yet. I was very impressed with Rick and Jessica. They both play the hero and villain so well and have such an on-screen presence. I love seeing Eddie's emotional arc over the episode, especially the scenes with Iris and Barry. I do wish they had chose a different actress to play Rick's fake daughter, because it's just not how biology works, so it took me out. I know it's a hallucination, but still. And they really couldn't take a new photo instead of editing that season 5 promo pic, especially because that photo isn't even of the Nora we see here, but of the one that traveled back to 2019. It's almost as bad as photoshopping Oliver into Barry's body for the Elseworlds crossover. And I really didn't need to see Cecile, Allegra, and Chester still at Star Labs having that age whatsoever. I wish they only showed Nora in the future is left to our imagination about the next generation of heroes. Seems like they are all living out Cisco's nightmare of never leaving Star Labs. I did not like Cecile's plot because why are we validating her behavior? Maybe Joe is okay with Cecile being away because he was used to parenting alone with Iris. She was right to run back to her timeline and be with Joe and Jenna, who by now should all be in the hospital with Iris, because she should not be off screen in labor alone when we get Cecile's whole pregnancy in season 4. I'm frustrated they keep watering down Barry's power to give a reason for Cecile, Keelan, Mark, and Allegra, and whoever else they want to save the day. But in the final season, final episodes, can we just see the Flash be the one who saves the day? After all these years, Barry is smart, capable, and fast enough to protect his family and his city, but the show just won't want to see that. That is my wish for the finale, that we see Barry doing what he was born to do and then race back to his wife for his baby's birth. The season has worked when it's focused on Barry's story and not the side acts. I want to end on a high note for all the fans who stuck with the show for many years. I will see you next week for my final review after almost 5 years of sharing my thoughts. Yours truly, Libby. And Electra writes, "Hey Flash Podcast team, how are you? Here are my thoughts on this week's episode. Why does no one age in 25 years? Not even a couple wrinkles, especially Cecile, who should be in her 70s. And why is Allegra acting shocked Eddie hasn't aged? Has she looked in the mirror lately or at all her friends?" I was like, does Allegra even know who Eddie is? Anyway, that's my thought, not Electra's. How did Eddie know Nora was Barry Iris' daughter? Which we addressed because he knew her from that time in CCPD. Oh, look, Cecile has Doctor Strange powers on top of all the other powers she has, and apparently a deadbeat mom. I was debating which made-for-TV character had the biggest powers pulled out of the writer's butts for plot purposes, Vibe in the Arrowverse, Nia, or Cecile. Oh, sorry, Virtue. The episode answered my question, unfortunately. Why is the penultimate episode of the final season not focusing on the main characters? The show should just be renamed Team Cecile. The story arc would have worked much better if the negative Speed Force had gone back in time to possess Eddie when he started resenting Iris and Barry's friendship. It would have worked better if the show spent the whole season building up the story arc that actually gave Eddie a few episodes as Cobalt Blue. I feel like I can sum up the whole final season with 2 words: wasted potential. It seems to be something the Flash's last season and Supergirl's last season have in common. My head and heart are hurting. That's the end of the email. You're on mute, Andy. I think I saw you talking.
Oh wow, I'm sorry. I'm so full of myself that I don't even pay attention anymore. No, I was saying that I don't think Supergirl season Flash season 9 is as bad as Supergirl season 6. Like Supergirl season 6, Supergirl has just started getting worse after season 4. So but let's go from this comment. Electra goes, Keon will snap her finger and fix everything in the finale. True or false, Lacy?
False.
No, I'm kidding. If you okay, yeah, no, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna bombard her with spoil anything about the finale. But does she even get to snap? Does she get to snap her fingers?
She does not snap her. She does get to do one really cool thing.
Okay. Mine says, Keon being a goddess, she won't be saying or doing much. She's a silent guardian, a watchful protector. See, again, y'all, as soon as a charm gets mentioned, which version of charm? The
I'm telling you, charms. People love the power of free.
WB, the iconic one, of course.
Yeah, yes. We're not going to talk. We will talk about the drama that happened between the writers between the new charm. I mean, did you all see that? When they started like fighting each other on Twitter?
Yes, I think adults should not fight on Twitter, but that's just my opinion.
Let's see. Don't they have teleports to the Watchtower base? I mean, if they're going with the one from Just League Unlimited.
Real quick, Andy.
No.
On this Watchtower thing.
No. I'm kidding. Go for it.
Is Barry on the Watchtower by himself? Because last time I counted, like all of his warehouse Justice League super friend buddies, they ain't in town no more. Like
they're dead. Isn't that what you mean?
Yes. Who is he talking to on this Watchtower?
Jefferson. Oh, Jefferson. How Jefferson would be?
Jefferson might be dead by that point.
No, if Cecile is not agent, that man is
exactly.
Not
yeah, exactly. Maybe Barry's hanging out with Anissa and Jennifer.
Maybe Barry's just babysitting all of his friends' kids as adults.
Yeah, and being like, "Hey, Cecile, this is how you're a parent." Let's see. I saw a leak about the Flash. Finally, it's ended with a model from Cecile. She says, "My name is Cecile. I'm the strongest woman alive." Like I said, Grant and Candace are such great scene partners. Yes, hopefully they will work together again in the future. You know what? Like one of those like crappy Hallmark movies. Like if they do one of those, I will definitely watch it. I thank God none of you got offended by that because I was like, oh no, one of them loves Hallmark movies. And I don't know which one it is. Would you love? Sorry, Lacy, what?
I was gonna say I'm still holding out hope that we'll get our
Bobby Mellon.
Because I mean, there's the history of Arrowverse people doing these. Brandon Routh has done 2 that are about cats. So
I think they pay really well. So you know what? No hate.
9 Lives of Christmas.
I have the perfect Hallmark movie in mind. Tom Welling and Edgar Durance, Grant Gustin and Candice Patton, Daniel Panabaker and Robbie Amell.
Okay, what's the premise? They're just
hanging out. That's it. You just pay them and you see what they do.
Big cast announcements here.
The premise is they have to protect the store.
It's got to happen at Christmas time.
Yes, the Christmas time. They have to protect it from Karens.
Okay.
And Tatiana is a store owner, and she's the one who's having to be like, guys.
Are they sentient or like just falling from the sky?
Both. Both. I don't know what Hallmark budget looks like, but
not much. Everybody, it's usually just like a cute little town square and like a Christmas tree lot.
Why does this remind me of that? I fed my AI, a bunch of Hallmark movies, and I had it spit out a script thing. Have you all seen that meme from several years ago? It was the greatest thing of our time. I have to remember. My husband is bones.
I don't think I've heard that.
Oh, I'm gonna find it and make you read it. Don't worry.
I actually did put in the Flash podcast last week through an AI about like write me a snot about the Flash podcast. It was kind of scary how accurate they got some things about the podcast. They don't know anything about our names though, so there's that. Let's see. I noticed that Chester was still working on Allegra's costume 2049. Wow, yeah. Does the costume look good, Lacy? If I can ask for another peek at the finale, does her costume look good?
Who's cut? Oh, Allegra's costume.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it can't be worse. It can't be worse than this.
I mean, it's not. I'm just struck speechless by that. Why does she have the VR headset on?
I don't know. I don't know
about?
either.
Mm-hmm.
When I was talking to Kayla Compton, I was like, I thought this man loved her, and then he made this. Let's see. New Rachel says, "Hi, New Rachel. By the way, Twitter seems angry about this. I think about the Virtue thing and the whole thing going on with Ms. Marvel. Oh,
wait, what's going on? I don't even want
to know. They're killing her off.
Yep.
What?
And not even her own book. They're killing her off in a Spider-Man comic.
I mean, they're just gonna immediately bring her back. But
yeah, I mean, yes, that is lame and stupid, but also like
it's legit fridging.
It is fridging, but also they will resurrect her in 2 issues. So just like nothing in common.
But
as a mutant.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everyone believes that they're going to bring her back as a mutant just so they can match the movies. But I'm like, you can do that without having to kill her. It's like, this is why Marvel will never get me as a customer.
Wait, is she a mutant in the movies?
In the movie, she's in the you have not watched Miss Marvel.
I have not.
Uh-oh.
I know I've got to because it's the movie.
It's really fun. It's really cute.
Yeah, it's Stargirl. It's like Stargirl basically. Think Stargirl, but for but like with Middle Eastern.
She's supposed to be stretchy, right? That's supposed to be the thing.
In the comics, yes.
She's more than stretchy, but yes, that's the base of it. But like,
she's intangible.
Yeah. In the comics, Miss Marvel is an Inhuman. Inhuman. What Anson Mount played on.
Yeah, I know that. I was going to say I know this.
But in the show, in the MCU, she is one of the first mutants that they have confirmed. So people believe that she could get killed off in the comic and then just come back just to do that, so she can come back as a mutant. But like, so it's worth fridging her so she can become a mutant. You can literally make her become a mutant without killing her.
Right, just wreck on it.
Yeah,
easy.
Right, like that's the
barely an inconvenience.
Barely an inconvenience. Yes. you beat me to it, Andy B.
Screen Rant's own Ryan George. That's his last name, right?
That is his last name.
Okay, I think I feel I'm supposed to know that. I'm supposed to know. Let's see. I think this is about what we were talking about before, the CW, the saga about a superhero seeing them 2 times a year. Oh, that's a Cecile. Yeah, it's still horrible. Oh wow, New Ranger goes, I guess they pulled a reverse deal and got rid of one of Cecile's kids. It wasn't even Barry's fault this time. Yeah, Minor says, I can't remember, but future Laura and Diana didn't look much older in the future either, or there was time travel also. Well, Lacy is our big Arrow lover, so like, what did we actually see Laurel in the future? We saw Dinah.
Yes.
We saw Dinah.
But wasn't the Laurel the present day Laurel just like who got like booted to the future? She wasn't
that's
Laurel?
No, we're talking about Arrow season 7 when they did the flash forwards. You're thinking about Green Arrow and the Canaries.
Oh, right. I'm thinking about Green Arrow and the Canaries.
I think we saw in season 7 and
yes.
I would love to know her skincare routine.
Right?
It's called plot armor. John Paz says, is Joe was going to be in the series finale? Yes, he will be in the finale.
He better be.
Lacy? No, I'm kidding.
Oh my god!
You know what? I will tell you off air. And then see. I think we're almost caught. Oh yeah, I love this. I was like so ready for Toddy cast. We are too. Oh yeah, he was. Jordan Fisher. He was on Dear Evan Hansen and now he's doing Sweeney. That boy is talented. He is.
Sweeney Todd is like a hard show to sing.
Well, I mean, he's Jordan Fisher. He's wait, my guy says, I think the Airways always had a problem that didn't Barad work in a fast food restaurant in the 2040s. Oh, to talk about like how the fact that the future look is so inconsistent. And the funny thing is that technically, because it's in the Arrowverse, Akashi City from Painkiller.
Yes.
It's technically in the present, and that looks futuristic.
That was a nice futuristic city that we got for one episode and never saw again. Akashic Valley.
Yeah. But
thanks for bringing up old scars from the CW, Andy B.
It's not my fault. But at least you weren't lied to. My guy says MCU synergy has always been stupid. Yeah. But hey, how wonderful we were going to kill off one of the most prominent Muslim superheroes not in her own comic even, and then bring her back as a mutant. Because Marvel doesn't have original ideas. Taylor goes, so maybe both Kara and Clark are up there hanging. I'm like, well, then what the fuck are they, like, what happened to their jobs at Earth? Like, wasn't Kara like an editor-in-chief now of CATCO or whatever? Like, how can she be up in space all the time and still do her job? That must be some great Wi-Fi reception.
And Clark's on a different Earth.
Well, she's talking about like Earth Primes. Superman. You don't accept that?
I don't accept that at all.
Oh, okay. That's a weird hill to die on.
Sorry, Electra. I don't accept it.
Cypher News. I think we all want an Impulse Excess spinoff. How it will probably only happen on Max if ever. Well, if Daddy James Gunn allows that. I just call him Daddy on live streaming.
Yes,
that's something that happened. Preserve.
You know what? He's a silver fox now. You know what? He could be Daddy for all I care. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the penultimate episode discussion of the Flash. Next week, guys, the series finale. The link is in the show notes where you can find the live show for next week's stream. It's okay. Before we go, like, how's everyone feeling? Are we all kind of like it will get to us when we get there, or is it kind of like, oh my god, I'm just counting the days now on the calendar?
I think I would have liked if this was a 2-parter finale, because I feel like this episode had good momentum, and now I have to wait for the finale. But yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I haven't seen the finale yet, but I'm sure it will give me my feels because I'm an emotional person. So.
Well, I guess for you, Lacy, without giving any spoilers, has it hit you now that it's over, or are you like, no, it will be over when I see the effect?
No, not at all.
It will be over when I see the finish. I will be over when you see the finished effects.
Actually, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of effects in this episode which don't really look that great on the screen.
Oh my god, that was the special effects of screeners. Because at least when we got screeners for streaming shows, Lacy, like it's not the effects are actually good. Like they're always finished. But CW was like,
there's one part in it where literally like it's so unfinished that there's some words on the screen that are like, here's what they're doing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well.
Oh.
So I'm assuming it's gonna look really cool.
Don't you should have more faith. Lacy has given her seal sign of approval.
No, don't put that on Lacy if it's
yeah, don't put that on me. I am. It is.
The fact that Cisco's not going to be in it,
I know that is just
throw it away.
Really, like,
I'm surprised, yeah, because this was what I was alluding to for several episodes. That like, yeah, he is not back. I was just as angry when I found it. Like I saw Twitter was in uproar, but like at least they were trying. They literally were trying to get him, but I don't know what he was filming. What was he like? Was he still filming that Hulu show?
I think that's what he said in the interview.
I think that's what they said in the EW thing. But I mean, at least he's getting a paycheck.
No, Lacy, that's Toddy's line. That's Toddy's line.
Well, she didn't say it. She's on mute.
So. Oh yeah, because Toddy fell asleep. Toddy finally fell asleep. Which means she's getting rest. Toddy works really hard, y'all. Like she, wish for Toddy to sleep a little bit during the summer. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it. So first of all, Bernard, thank you so much for joining us. Very last minute, but I'm glad you were able to come on and talk about one of your favorite characters, even though she was wearing that horrible wig. Where can we find you on social media? Tell them about all your podcasts and Kings of Sport and everything.
Andy, you don't know how much talent it takes to make a terrible CW wig still somehow look good, and JPK accomplished that feat, ladies and gentlemen, at least in my eyes, But thank you, Andy, for the invite, and always great to catch up with Breeze and Lacy and Toddy. It's been too long, so I'm glad that we got to spend one last time here in Central City before it all ends. Only Lacy knows for sure how this story ends. So we're hoping
one last run.
We're hoping it's good. So I'll be watching you guys next week. Just time on my hands. Wishing it was time spent with you, but it's great. You mentioned all my shows, Andy. I'm like Dr. Multiverse on these streets. Shout out to Vanessa Shark. I got all these shows on all these earths. So you mentioned the Kings of Sport, which we had a new episode that just dropped this past week. And we had some big announcements. I announced my official new co-host of the podcast, Dr. Chris Ely, a.k.a. Chris from LA. So he is officially my co-host now.
Is he actually a doctor?
He is. He is a political science professor who teaches out in LA. And he is my official co-host now. We brought on a new guy named Ray Williams, Ray, Sugar Ray. I'm still trying to think of a nickname for the brother. He's going to be our producer. So we got big things going on. We got a new logo that we unveiled. We're working on a new theme song. And we are now, we can announce it to the public, even though I announced it on Twitter a couple days ago. We are affiliated with the Multiverse of Color. So you'll be able to find us everywhere. Multiverse of Color, kingsofsport.com. You'll be able to find the show. We talk about sports, pop culture, pro wrestling, a lot of crazy stuff. And, this is our 10-year anniversary of the Kings of Sports. So
congratulations.
Yes, thank you, Andy. Hope everybody checks us out. And if you want to subscribe to the Patreon, $5 gets you in the door. You're on Patreon anyway, I'm sure. You're subscribed to the Ladies with Gumption Patreon. So subscribe to the Kings of Sport Patreon. $5 gets you in the door. Patreon.com/the Kings of Sport. In addition to that, Post Wrestling is where you can find the NWA podcast, the Nubian Wrestling Advocates, a show about pro wrestling from the perspective of Black journalists, Black fans, Black performers. And it drops on Post Wrestling once a month. And so this Saturday, we're going to be going live at 9 Eastern, talking about all the biggest news in pro wrestling. So check that out. And the Lituation Room and the Green Lantern podcast are also two of my podcast homes. So you can check me out there. You can find both of those shows on the mega feed, because I love saying mega feed. You can find both of those.
I love saying it too. It's a good word.
Find both of the shows on the mega feed. For everything else, just follow me on Twitter at @8 MOZAIK at Nate Mosaic. Thank you again, guys, for having me. Don't get the blues next week. You're gonna do great. And Andy, I know it's been a rough week. We saw a little bit of that negative Speed Force ebb out of you, brother. But get ready for this last run next week. And I just got one thing to say to you, Andy Baback. And you look at me when I say this. You feel what I say like Cecile, Andy B.
Wait, hold on. Cecile? Hold on.
No, don't put on your glasses. I need you to see me when I tell you this, Andy. Next week, I need you to run, Andy. Run.
I'm fat. I don't run. But I'm sure I can
briskly jog, Andy. Briskly jog.
You guys shouldn't be laughing, because you guys should encourage me to then keep doing bad jokes. At some point, I will get us all canceled. At some point.
All right, so we're just gonna be silence. Judging silence.
Well, Lacy, but where can people find you? And
wow,
is it something you can answer? Because people, I know that this was, I promise, this is the last question, but people were concerned about this. They were literally concerned about, like, is it noticeable?
Give me a little more context here, because I'm not quite
Brad
sure.
had COVID, so he had to green screen some scenes for the finale, because he was gone for like 10 days of the production. So he had to be green screened into certain scenes.
Oh, interesting. I will say that I did not notice anything terrible, because that is news to me. And I didn't notice it enough to be like, wow,
but it's a good
that's
sign.
weird.
That could be a good sign.
I think that's a good sign. I mean, granted, again, the VFX and all effects in a lot of these screeners that go out to press early it's just truly horrifying. So, like, it's amazing the difference between that and the actual episode. So I feel fairly confident everything about it is going to look better than the one that I saw, but I did not see anything that was egregious enough that I didn't chalk it up to, well, this episode's not finished.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's a good sign. And I promise that is the last question I will make you answer on there. But Lacy, where can we find you on social media? Tell them about your podcast. What social media app did you find this week to join?
My latest new one is Blue Sky. So I'm
You
on
got
Blue
in?
Sky. I did.
Can we get in?
Once they give me some, I will pass out invites. I'm gonna try to give one to Anson Mount, so he'll join Blue Sky. And
are you gonna give it to him first before you give it to your own co-host?
Andy, it's Anson Mount. I don't know what you want me to do.
I don't care.
Quick question, Lacy. A follow up, if I may.
Sure.
So when you get accepted into Blue Sky, do they present you with the blue rose?
No. So it's not that.
It's all connected.
Oh my god.
So the blue roses are not Blue Sky SpawnCon. That I can confirm. I am Lacy MB on Blue Sky and Twitter and all of the other random social media apps I've joined over the past few months and immediately discarded. I really did anybody else join one called co-host? I'm on that.
I didn't know what that was. I get on Mastodon. I
am on Mastodon. I don't understand Mastodon. It really it's too hard. I don't need social media to be that much work. So I have a Mastodon, but my entire Mastodon account is in 6-month intervals, me remembering that I have a Mastodon and posting, oh my God, I have a Mastodon. And then I forget for 6 more months. And I'm like, oh my God, I have a Mastodon. It's like I'm caught in a time loop. So you can follow me there, but that is literally the content that you will get on that website. I'm on the Flash beat at Den of Geek and
Star Trek.
And the Star Trek beat, which, as we know, Star Trek Strange New World Season 2 is premiering June 15th. Everyone watch it. It's so good. That's not even me saying it because I cover it. I just genuinely am obsessed with it. It's so good. And I host another podcast called Televisions, which is about British TV and entertainment things, where we talk about, I've been really living my best life with period dramas lately, but I think we're about to have to do all the mysteries that are on PBS this summer, and mysteries are not my jam. So thoughts and prayers.
Not Iris. I mean Toddy. Sorry.
That's a compliment.
That's true. That's true. Where can we find you on social media, all your podcasts? What interviews do you have coming up, and what K-drama should people be watching this weekend before they watch The Flash?
LOL. Well,
you could be LOL.
Marcella's here on Twitter and technically Instagram. And I did actually speak to Robbie Amell today for his movie Simulate.
How is he doing? Is he okay?
Is he okay?
What's all right?
Wait, hold on. Did he actually get hurt in real life, or is this just Lacy being?
No, it's just me being I miss him.
Yeah. I actually did ask him about. I was like, they killed Kaylin off, and it's horrible. What would have been your perfect ending for Ronnie and Caitlin? And he basically just said I actually had a great time coming back and killing Frost. So that's all I gotta say.
Wow, that betrayal.
This is why Toddy didn't bring it up until now.
I was like, okay, sir.
Not invited to Keown Corner, sir.
Exactly, right? Not. Anyway, so that's coming up. And American Born Chinese did interviews with that. It's a great show. Had a lot of fun with it. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it when it comes out next week. On Disney Plus. Yes. On Disney Plus, the streaming platform that is getting rid of 27 of its projects on both Disney Plus and Hulu for cost-cutting purposes.
Wait, did David Zaslav buy it?
Haha! It's because they don't want to pay the writers the residuals.
So everything
wow, that's a bitchy move. I'm sorry.
Exactly,
wow.
It is. So don't watch it on Disney Plus. Watch it elsewhere.
Nice.
Anyway, other podcasts include Ladies with Gumption, which you can find at DC TV Gumption on Twitter, where we talk about not DC TV anymore, but Ladies with Gumption in DC properties, or maybe Netflix, or maybe HBO, wherever we find them. Wherever there's some Ladies with Gumption, we'll talk about them. And that's what you missed on Glee.
And Miss Breeze Jenna Riley. Where can you find her on social media and your other project? Wow. At least I said your first name right.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Brace Riley, on DCC. I can't even say DC Studios podcast. Whenever Doom Patrol comes back, find all my bylines on social media. Stay tuned for my Jenna spinoff podcast.
Not on this network. I can't. I can't. David Sasso said I'm not allowed to fund podcasts like that. You can find me on social media at Anybody where I'm currently bitching about my life, and you can find all my stuff at Screen Rant, Multiverse of Color, Endless Multiverse. Just check my bio for all my things, unless I haven't gotten suspended by the time we get to next week's episode, because I'm mad. I am the true negative Speed Force. Fuck with me, I'll fuck with you. Because we've gone for so long, we're gonna skip the plugs. But ladies and gentlemen, next week it is the final episode of The Flash ever, and then we can be finally done with this crappy network that is about to go into the cheapest programming they have ever done with F-Boy Island, F-Boy Nation, whatever it's called, F-Boy Verse. I don't care. I got this schedule in my email, and I got this schedule in my. I don't know any of these shows except for All American.
At least it's parody. One of them is like F Girl Island.
Oh, a spin on it.
I saw they were doing like a Bachelor for old people, like Golden Bachelor.
Wow, they are leaning all in.
Yeah. All I know is I saw something about like Ride Along with Cops from the producers of Jersey Shore, and I was like, "What is happening? We are
the show that Breeze mentioned will actually go on and star Cecile Hornan because she has no life.
I mean, she looked good, so why not?
I mean, look like that when I'm 80.
But yeah, next week we'll be back for our special live stream for the series finale of The Flash. It's gonna be bittersweet, but it's time. So, Brother Nate, once again, thank you so much for joining. Oh, sorry, you need to grab something. I was like interrupting.
I was going to pay homage, Andy B, to our guy. As all of my Funkos come toppling down, it's gonna pay homage to our guy. I miss my guy already.
I do too.
Aww. Even though the shows had some ups and downs, let's be real.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like Grant, Candace, a few other people. I'm gonna miss them.
At least you won't have to wait for more Flash content for long, because in June there will be the Flash movie.
Ooh, we're not talking about that.
You mean the Batman 89 Part 2?
The Batman featuring Supergirl, and then an even smaller font featuring the Flash.
Oh, good Lord. Damn, indeed. But thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to everyone watching live. You guys are, again, the greatest listening audience in the whole entire multiverse. Find out next week how it all ends. But until next time, I'm Andy B. Tati, wake up.
I'm Tatiana. Is that what is happening?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm Breeze.
And I'm Lacy. I was laughing and then I coughed.
And we'll see you next time on the Flash Project. Good night, everyone, and CW, fuck yourself.